What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be talking about tips for Lincoln-Douglas debate as well as other forms of high school debate like policy and public forum. I did Lincoln-Douglas debate for 4 years in high school, and I really think that it shaped a lot of the skills and attitudes and beliefs that I formed in that liminal time of my life. I never got to the point where I really wanted to, which was the Tournament of Champions, but I did get ranked at many national tournaments. I was quarterfinalist at UPenn, triple octo finalist at Harvard, two-time qualifier to the Virginia High School State Championships. I was second out of 112 people at George Mason National Debate Tournament. So I did get some success at the national circuit, and I want to talk about 5 unique actionable tips that you can take if you're interested in high school debate or if you're currently on the circuit, and how you can really improve and get to the point that I never got to, which was the Tournament of Champions, the best 75 or 100 debaters in the country, things like that. Okay, so the first thing is the number one thing that really accelerated my growth as a debater in high school was to watch YouTube videos of other people's debate rounds and then to pause it where somebody was about to speak their rebuttal speeches and then pretend like I was the person who had to give the rebuttal speech, give myself 1 or 2 minutes to prepare and give that rebuttal speech. And then I would either have somebody watch me give that rebuttal speech and give me feedback on it, like a coach or a teammate. I wasn't part of like this big debate school, so I didn't have access to as many coaches. But sometimes I would pay like $50 an hour for somebody to watch me give the rebuttal speech and then give me feedback, or I would ask my teammate to give me feedback, or I would just notice like, where am I tripping up? Why is this strategy not working? What is the fault? I would watch the YouTube video and actually like see the rebuttal that the person was giving. And then I would again do that with the opponent's speech. So before the opponent would give their rebuttal to the person's rebuttal, I would try to give my rebuttal to my own rebuttal. Things like that, where you are practicing putting yourself into debate rounds that are on YouTube, will really help you, because a lot of debate is not really about the case as much as it is about your ability to give rebuttals, about your ability to go for strategies, about your ability to, with conviction, explain why you have the winning case over the other person. And so I've seen people on the national tournament or in the national circuit who pay very little attention to their own case that they've prepared so hard for, and rather pay attention a lot more on the skills of rebutting, the skills of speaking, the skills of going for strategy, things like that they've cultivated by watching other people do debate and then pretending like they're in that round. So watch as many debate videos as you can on YouTube and pretend like you are the person giving the rebuttal. That is going to improve your skills better than anything, because you're going to have to force yourself to actually be in that moment where you're competing against a top ranked debater. Because all these YouTube videos where people are uploading their debates on YouTube, they're all given by like top 10 debaters in the country. And so if you watch them and then you try to debate against them just in the comfort of your own home, you're going to do a really great job. Okay. Number 2 is go to the case list wiki. So case list wiki, if you just Google that, case list wiki, Lincoln Douglas debate or policy debate or whatever, it's basically this website where people upload their cases after they're done with a debate round, and after they're done on a national circuit debate round. And so before I would go to a national tournament, I would try to look at that case list wiki and see what type of cases are really popular that people are running. How would I respond to them? What are the strategies that people are going for? Because for each resolution, for each topic, there'll be really popular strategies that people will implement, really popular like frameworks and really popular contentions, really popular plans and advantages and all those things. And so if you look at the case list wiki, you can get a lot of ideas of what you might be up against, as well as get good ideas of what you might want to write in your own case as well. So the case list wiki is a really good idea to read before any tournament, to get idea while you're writing your case, and to get ideas while you're trying to respond to other people's cases. Okay, number 3 is once you're in your 2AR or 2NR, your last rebuttal speeches, you want to really focus on what is the winning argument that you have, and then go all in for that. And try to do like weighing, impact calculus, try to show why that winning argument should win you the round. Because what I would do, and what a lot of novice debaters do when they're first starting out, is they try to win everything that's going on. Like there's going to be 10 arguments that are going on, and they're trying to get through every single one and explain why they've won everything. The problem is like a 2AR is 3 minutes. You're not going to be able to get through all 10 arguments. And 2, it's way better to just explain why you won 1 point, and then just explain why under the framework that you've said or your opponent has said, that is the most important point in the round. Like nothing else matters. The judge can just vote for this a priori, or like before all other things are considered. So to give you an example, one of the resolutions that I was debating on in a national tournament was whether nuclear energy should be used or not. And I promise, I was the 2AR, I was giving my last rebuttal speech. Sorry, I was the 2NR, I was giving my rebuttal speech, and I was losing every single point, right? But there was this one argument that I had about global warming, and I had really good evidence that explained that global warming is going to be irreversible within 50 to 100 years. Nuclear energy is the most practical solution that exists right now, and my opponent hadn't given very good evidence to combat that or to rebut that. And so I realized that, all my opponent's points were correct. My opponent was winning every single argument in that round, but he had not spent as much time on this one particular point. So I decided that I would spend all 6 minutes explaining why this was the most important point in the round, that global warming is an existential threat, that it's going to be irreversible pretty soon, and that we don't have any alternatives besides nuclear energy. I went all in on the evidence behind that, on everything I had presented in the first round, and I spent 6 minutes just explaining why that was the most important point in the round, because it was an existential threat, and nothing else we had been talking about was an existential threat in that round. And because of winning just that one point, I had won the round. And so in high school debate, in basically any debate, the key that people kind of miss out on is that it's all about weighing. It's all about telling the judge what to focus on, because there's going to be a lot of things that are being talked about in the round. You have, 6 minutes, the other person has 7 minutes, you're presenting a lot of points, but eventually when you get to the rebuttal speeches, you have to choose one thing and show why that's the most important thing and make sure that that's in your favor. And if you can do that, then you're automatically going to be ahead of like 70-80% of the debaters, just because you're able to prioritize arguments. When you get into higher level debate and you have like theory and topicality and critiques and all these things, that becomes even more important, because probably like if you're the affirmative debater and you're going for a theory shell, and and the negative debater is going for a topicality shell or something like that, or is the negative debater is going for a critique, and you're both like competing against each other, you're both going to be having these arguments, but what's more important than winning against your opponent's critique or against your opponent's theory shell is actually showing why your argument matters more than the opponent's. Because it doesn't really matter if your opponent has a critique, but you've shown that your theory shell matters more than their critique. And obviously this is like when you get a little bit further into debate, but it's all about weighing your argument. It's all about showing why your argument is the most important. Okay, number 4 is read the judge's preferences before the round. You can also ask your judge before the round if they have any preferences, because some judges can have a lot of preferences that they'll either write on tab room, and if you read the tab room, they might have like 6 paragraphs where they explain exactly what they want, and usually that means that you have a good judge, because they're explaining like what they like or what they don't like. Sometimes you'll get really opinionated judges, or you'll get judges who really want things one way or the other way. Sometimes, like I asked if the judge had any preference on the speed of talking, and they would say like, yeah, it's fine, go at whatever speed, like I'm okay with people speaking quickly, but then they said like they didn't understand anything. And so like it's important to ask your judge what their preferences are, because your judge is the one who's evaluating the round. It's not you who's evaluating the round. So even if you think you won something, but if you did something that the judge didn't understand or the judge didn't like, you could lose that round just because you didn't know the judge's preferences or you didn't pay attention to them. And so try to know the judge's preferences before the round. Okay, number 5 is practice your reason for decision really religiously. And so reason for decision is kind of like the last 1 minute of the entire debate round. In your last rebuttal speech, you're kind of focusing on giving the judge a reason to vote for you. And so once I got to my 4th year of debate, I started realizing that like everything else doesn't matter as much as your last 1 minute of your rebuttal speech, because you're basically telling the judge, okay, this is what I want you to focus on. This is the path in which you vote for me. And you want to give the judge an easier path to vote for you over your opponent. And if your opponent has been winning the whole round, but doesn't give like the judge like a clear reason to vote for them, if they just said like, these are all the arguments I'm winning, but at the end they run out of time to explain like, this is why you should vote for me. And you as the affirmative debater go up and your last minute is like, okay, I've given you this point and that's an easy way to vote for me. I've also given you this point and that's an easy way to vote for me. You should vote for me because of these 2 points. The judge is just so much more likely to vote for you because you've given them a really easy indication for them to vote for you. And so one thing that I would do is I would go through my previous debate rounds and I would look at like how the debate round went, and I would just focus on choosing a reason for the judge to vote for me, and I would spend 1 minute and I would practice explaining why that's a reason for the judge to vote for me. I would specifically do this for all the debate rounds that I lost because I wanted to force myself to think, was there a way that I could have won this debate round even though my opponent won it, just based on trying to give the judge a reason to vote for me? And if you can make it really clear and really precise for why the judge should find a route to vote for you, more likely than not, they're going to want to vote for you. All right, those are my 5 unique tips. Please leave any questions down below. I'll try to leave an email so that you can ask me any personal questions if you want. And I know that there's a lot more to cover in terms of debate. So if you like these types of videos, if this was helpful, then I'm happy to make more. Just let me know what you like. All right, see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.